The kitchen is as we left it, the shutters closed with Mikhail still dead at a table. I whispered to Adnor to avoid disturbing the sleeping fox. Should we wake him? He must have official duties to attend to our home, so for his sake, we better. The wolf walks behind the fox and gently massages his back. He coos in a soothing voice, trying to wake him gracefully. Well, Mikhail, you have to wake up now. It's late. I'm up. I wasn't sleeping hard. He leans forward and rests his arm on the table, nearly past. He stares bleary-eyed at Adnor and me. You got your new clothes. How nice. Yeah, Adnor picked them out for me. I know you paid for them, so thank you. Adnor opens the shutters, letting the sunset light up the room. With great effort, the fox pulls himself fully to his feet. He teeters over to the stove, looking like the waking dead. He looks around in confusion. Tea, sweet? No. You probably left the sweet leaves in your study again. I will get them for you. The fox grumbles, digging through Vera's pockets until, with an aha, he withdraws a small key ring. He entrusts it to the wolf, who quickly bounds up the stairs. He grabs his glasses sitting on the table, taking his time to adjust them till they sit firmly on his long nose. I step up to the wary vulpine to lend a hand, but I halt when he pulls a number of odd trinkets from his bag and cupboards. There's a kettle, and I stand for it, a small clay bowl with a hole in the side, and a metal baton with a wooden handle. He then lethargically sets an empty kettle atop it, though without any water. Is he going to make tea like this, without heat or water, the two things kind of required to make tea? Should I say something? The fox looks so out of it, I'm worried he'd burn the whole house down, doing whatever it is he's trying to do. My train of thought is cut short as he withdraws a pair of crystals from his satchel, red and blue, which radiate a soft glow. They have a scintillating beauty that leaves me transfixed. I watch as he casually holds the blue crystal above the open pot, tapping it with the metal wand. In a moment, the glow dims and water flows out of the stone, as though it were a sweet sponge. It takes a second, but I finally realize what I'm seeing and have to rub my eyes for a double take. There's actually water flowing out of that crystal, and much more than it could possibly hold even if it were made of pure ice. My fascination peaked and prodded Mikhail's arm, not taking my eyes off the crystal for a second. What is that? Water stores water, tea. In the kettle filled, Mikhail puts the baton away, and the flow of water ceases. What lingering moisture remains on the rock seeps back in like a sponge until it is bone dry. But it doesn't look the least bit porous. The crystal still glows a beautiful blue, but it's dimmer now. He lifts the sloshing kettle, dropping the red stone in the clay disc, then covers it back up like it were a lid. He eases the rod into the hole, and a moment later, I can see orange light flickering out through the seams of the pot, warmth radiating from it. Mikhail steps back, waiting for his pot to start boiling. I myself move closer and inspect it with great interest. So, the red one makes fire? Yes, fire. And this is normal? Tea? No, this tea is not common. We got this one imported. No, the tea. Not the tea, the crystals. Ah, the crystals. Yes, the crystals. Are they magic? Yes, crystals magical, yes. Stores elements inside them. And you're using them to make tea? Mm-hmm. He fetches a tin and a silver teaspoon from his pack, scooping out a few clumps of what looks and smells like black tea. I studied the arrangement he's going. I studied the arrangement he's got going here. I can't believe it's real. Wouldn't it be easier to put the crystal directly in the water? Probably, but I'm trying a few different approaches. See if I get different results. I want a better understanding of how these crystals work. I just keep staring. In less than a minute, steam is erupting from the kettle's spout. Miguel pulls the baton back out. Just as the teapot's threatening to whistle, he sets the rod down before moving the kettle aside. I lean over to see the red stone inside the clay having a dull red color and no heat emitting from it. It must have run out of battery like the blue one did with the water. I thought you said you didn't have any other witch relics. What about these? What do you mean? The glowing rocks. Why can't we just open the gate with them? No, these aren't relics. They're elemental crystals, naturally occurring. While I try to wrap my mind around what I just heard, I watch as Mikhail pours himself a cup of tea, steering to brew it. He takes a small sip and his expression sours. He clearly doesn't take his tea black. Our conversation is interrupted by the heavy footsteps of the wolf. Descending the stairs, he presents the fox with a glass jar packed full of whole dried leaves. It should take a day to organize the study, Lord Mikhail. I had trouble finding a jar with the sweet leaves. Yeah. The fox disregards him completely, focused entirely on finishing his brew. He retrieves several dried leaves from the jar, far more than is likely necessary, and crumbles them over the teacup. Once satisfied with his completed concoction, he indulges with a satisfied hum. Is he always like this when he wakes up? Before he gets his tea, yes. Shh. The foster man's silence for his reverie, and Atnor and I just wait awkwardly for him to finish. He takes long, deep, greedy sips, and then he goes for seconds. I cannot believe he used actual crystal rocks to make tea, of all things. Why is he so hung up on witches if he's got stuff like this lying around? Now that hits the spot. After downing his third round, he sets down his cup and shakes his head to banish any lingering fatigue. With a wide yawn and a stretch, he finally regards us. So, what did you two get up to while I was resting my eyes? We have just returned from visiting two locations, the inn and the smithy. We assess how well the charge adapts to new environments and his ability to familiarize himself with strangers. The civilians have witnessed the charge acting in a natural fashion, and I believe apprehension of his presence is already fastly waiting. Excellent news. Getting out, satisfying public intrigue. A very good plan, Sir Aguilar. Mikhail slowly swaying, keeping himself up straight by leaning on to the chair. So we're just gonna ignore the magic rocks that can make literal fire and water. Now a bit more awake, the fox finally seems to catch on to the reason for my interest. Ah yes, magic crystals, they really are wonderful. They can do so many different things, but we only know of five or six types that are of any practical use. He fishes back out the red crystal and brandizes it to me. Do these interest you? They're literal magic. Of course they do. Wonderful. I will bring some by tomorrow and will add them to your curriculum. Curriculum? As in having to study? Yes, we have many things to teach you about our world and our ways. Antnor not inform you? Alright, he might have mentioned that before we left the house. I will provide you with a robust education about our history and ways, manners, myths, politics, lineages, creeds, geography, agriculture, ceremony. Yes, but what about the magic? It's my first time seeing it. Of course, I'll teach you all we know about the magic crystals. During our lectures, you will be able to ask me any and all questions that occur to you. The fox smiles, eyes closed with a subtle grin. Initially, I thought he was just satisfied with his spiel, but he's swaying again. I'm worried he's fallen asleep while standing. I don't think a few cups of tea is enough to counter 2 days of non-stop work. I don't think sleeping for just a few hours is enough. Are you sure you're alright? I am astounding. Thank you for asking. Just give me some time and I'll be right as rain again. Now tell me, how was your first day out in our civilization? Well, it started with the clothes. Antnor took my measurements and went out to get that sorted for me. I was worried I was going to whip them at first, since I still can't control my claws, but Antnor clipped them for me, so He what? He got me new clothes. No, after. What did he do after you received your new clothes? That he trimmed my claws? He looks mortified. And rounds on the roof. How could you do that? Why in Elder's name did they have to be trimmed? They were immaculate. And more importantly, why did you wake me so I could document it? Huh? What a terrific moment to miss out on. I can't believe the luck. He furiously mixes up another cup of tea, gulping it down in one go. Did anything unusual happen? Did his powers flare up again? Is he hurt? Did he tear the house down? Lord Mikhail, calm yourself. You've missed nothing. It was just a claw trimming. But we can't be sure of that. What if the Aether twisted round him too subtly for you to notice? Or there was a reaction that required specific instruments to detect. This is going to vex me all day, all week. He's pacing around the room, looping around the kitchen table and the wolf in the figure 8. He scratches his head so much that his fur flies off. He then holds out his hand expectantly at the wolf. Clippings now. It might be too late, but I need to study them before they're still fresh. While they're still fresh. Okay. Again. Clippings now. It might be too late, but I need to study them while they're still fresh. I could have lived a long, happy life not bearing that, or not hearing that. Clippings now. It might be too late, but I need to study them while they're still fresh. I could have lived a long, happy life not hearing that. I did not collect them. They were normal claw clippings, nothing unusual about them. Mikhail looks away from the big wolf. The gasp of indignation that escapes him is beyond theatrical. They are Sylving claw clippings, a transmogrified into a new form. There's nothing ordinary about them. I don't care what you've done with them. I must have them immediately. They're on the floor by the vanity. I neglected to discard them. And just like that, the fox is dancing up and out of the kitchen. We can hear him scuttling above us. You can't be serious. I'm afraid that when it comes to the lordship's curiosities, he's always serious. But the clippings? That's just gross, perhaps, but the word gross doesn't cross his mind when it means he can learn more about your kind. You also may have noticed that he when he's tired, his behavior becomes a bit erratic. I just let him be. He'll tire himself out soon enough. The fox scuttles back down the stairs, holding aloft a small bottle filled with the clippings. I'm glad you didn't get rid of them, Sir Atnor. This will make for an excellent addition to my Sylving collection. Now, if you need me, I'll be in my study for the rest of the night. I've got plenty of experiments and documentation to do. No, Lord Mikhail. You have to go home. You have your official duties to perform, and you need a proper night's rest in your bed. Why? I'm perfectly alright. I've gone days without rest with no adverse effects before. We both know that isn't true. Last time you did that, you spent an entire afternoon studying a thin metal pot from the Sylving realm, which turned out to be a waste of time. No, it wasn't. The metal was unnaturally thin and pliable. You would have been amazed, too, if you had an ounce of scientific curiosity. This will only take a few minutes of testing, no more. The fox sniffs in indignation again, swaying where he stands. The tea is having less and less of an effect by the second. No, your family would never forgive me if I let you do this to yourself again. Arwen, I need to escort Lord Mikhail back home, but I'll still be back shortly. Will you be alright on your own? Sure, easy enough. I've got some reading to do anyway, about this Silent Hawk place I keep hearing about. I retrieved the book from the table where Lord Mikhail was sleeping and waving. Good, then we'll leave right away. No, here. Let me help you, Arwen. I simply need an hour with you. My lord, listen. You need to go home so you can get some proper sleep. Oh, piss poss. I'm fully awake now. No need to be so dramatic. The fox is talking to the spice rack, and the day is evidently mistaking it for Atnor. His balance is so bad it's a miracle he hasn't collapsed yet. Atnor is forced to step in and steady him by resting their paws on his shoulders. Here we go, Lord Mikhail. Just hold on to me. He pushes the now sleepwalking fox towards the exit. I hurry to the door and hold it open for them. I'll be back soon, Alan. Wait, can I at least have some of your mane too? The fox reaches for me futilely as he is gently forced through the door by the wolf. I wave to Mikhail by the door as I watch them walk down the street. Hope he actually sleeps when he gets home. It was fun being out today for a change. It was only for a short time, or for a short couple hours, but I think I've had enough exploring for one day. Going back inside, I flip over the book to see the walls of text on every page. Well, it can't hurt reading a little. Could do some warming up to Mikhail's lecture tomorrow, so I'm prepared for it. And because of that, Squirrel Squavel lost his leg in that terrible storm because of the misfortune by the spoon, or that is how the ancestor living in the village has told me. Why could a misplaced silver spoon bring misfortune at a wedding? I have never heard nor read any other times where this happened, so I don't know where they got this idea from. These superstitions are all quite silly, if you ask me. There's no reason or logic to them over such trivial things. Now, where was I? Oh right, the wedding of the Squavel family. After misplacing that particular spoon, the aunt of the young doe to-be wife had brought a silver cane as a wedding present, which was believed to be owned by. Make it stop, it's been hours. Hours of Mikhail going on and on about so many things. It's given me no time to breathe or think or digest any of what he's saying. It wasn't so bad at first, but he's got a nasty habit of going into unnecessary details. So bad I can't even remember the big picture stuff that I'm supposed to be learning. And he keeps using all this jargon too, names and places I have no context for and likely never will. I tried asking what those words mean a few times, but that only provokes a new winding lecture on a completely irrelevant tangent. I'm too scared to ask any questions anymore. Whenever I fantasize about getting caught up in an adventure like this, I never imagined it would involve so much rote book learning. I might as well be back in high school. But when she brought forth the change, Miguel, please, it's been hours and we haven't even had a break. It's hard keeping everything you said so far in my head. If we keep going like this, my brain will literally explode. My apologies, Darwin. I thought that since you're Sylving, you would have no trouble learning about this place. I remember to note your current limit for taking in new knowledge. I must say, I'm surprised you have such low endurance for memorization. Rude. Yeah, rude. If you'd rather dictate the pace of your education, then we can do that. Do you have any ideas for our next topic? Finally, I thought he'd never give me the chance. Could you tell me more about those magic rocks from yesterday? It's my first time seeing something like that. Of course, I was going to discuss them next, after going through the basic history of our village, but we can have a look at them now. That was basic history. I felt like I was studying for a master's degree. The fox takes up his satchel and presents me with a small pouch. My energy inverts from 0 to 100 in an instant. I've been looking forward to this all day. Mikhail hands me the pouch, and I immediately pull it open, beholding a kaleidoscope of radiant colors dancing within. Each of these crystals contains a different element, reflected by their dominant color. While there are a greater number of crystal types across the world, these are the most commonly used. Red is fire, water is blue, cyan is ice, yellow is light, and green is air. That's pretty simple. Knowing which one is what will be easy. So how do you use them? Part is so fascinating. Do you want the drab? Short memory? Oh, that part is fascinating. Do you want the drab? Short memory? Oh, that part is so fascinating. Do you want the drab, short summary? Or would you rather hear the full extent of my knowledge and acquire a crystal clear understanding? The first one. Mikhail looks both caught off guard and disappointed, but he quickly composes himself and tugs on his collar, letting out some heat. I guess you really wanted to give a whole lecture on magical crystal theory. There are certain crystals in our world that are naturally capable of storing a specific energy, force, or substance within them. When exposed to a specific metal, this attribute reverses, expelling the stored product. Allow me to demonstrate. He explains his palm, asking for me to return the piles of gems. I do so he walks towards the window. He then closes the shutters, darkening the room significantly with only a thin ray of sunlight peeking through. Next, he extracts the yellow crystal and presents it in the metal baton for yesterday. He then simply brings the two together. In the moment the one makes contact, the crystal's glow intensifies. The effect is soft, radiant, and warm. Filling the whole kitchen, it's not as bright as I was expecting, akin to a dim bulb, threatening to go out, but still brighter than a candle. This one here is called a sunstone, containing sunlight as its element. You may have noticed larger ones of this variety around town being used as street lamps. They absorb sunlight all day long and then keep our town lit well into the night. How do you get the light inside it? He pulls the baton away and the room goes dark again, and like before, the stone's noble emissive glow returns, somewhat dimmer than before Mikhail's demonstration. He pivots the shutters of the window to allow thin rays of light to breach through them. He then holds the stone aloft at one such strand, and I can see the light from it is wholly absorbed into the stone. While there are countless factors that influence how the absorption process works, all that is needed is for the crystal to be exposed to the elements it stores. As the mystical rock gulps down its fill, its luster grows and grows until it returns to its original brilliance. With enough time and exposure, it will reach capacity, at which point it will not hold any more and become inert, much like any container. I know for this one in particular it's hard to see, but this light crystal has absorbed every ounce of sunlight that shone on it to be released at a later date. This logic applies to all the differing elements, though there are some discrepancies in how efficiently a stone can absorb its respective element. So a fire stone must be put in an actual fire, while a water stone must be submerged in water. Precisely. But there's more to it than that. See, if you place a water crystal in a container of water, it will absorb the water out, but only the water. Any other dissolved substance is left behind. This actually has an industrial application, as it can be used to gather salt from seawater or other processes that require swift dehydration. That's incredible. Water stones are most commonly used to transport large quantities of potable water in a relatively small container, a potentially life-saving innovation when traveling the seas or through hot and arid lands. Just make sure you mix in something soluble before consumption, since distilled water can actually cause indigestion or, in large enough quantities, intestinal damage. I feel like the implications of such things would be world-changing. I wish we had these back in my world. So many issues could be resolved so easily. Yes, they are fascinating things. I've been studying them thoroughly for the past few years and have developed a few theories on how they might work on a more fundamental level. But alas, it's not possible to progress without talking with the Uders. They're dangerous, but they have the best understanding of this magic. I was going to ask about maybe finding a way to get the crystals to power the gates, but the mention of Uder again catches my interest. Andor said something about Uders before. When we first met, he asked me if I was one. What are they? Didn't I tell you about them? He digs through his notes, papers flying to and fro. He fishes out a particular piece of paper and scrutinizes it, eyes darting through the lines in disbelief. It would seem I've somehow neglected to mention the history between our forefathers, the Uders, and the involvement of the Sylvings. This most defining period of our history. It was meant to be the focus of today's lecture, but how did I get so led astray? He continues to rummage through his notes, trying to find where past Mikhail might have betrayed him. It's the first day of learning, and my already lean faith in his teaching skills just evaporated. Seriously, you forgot the number one most important thing you were meant to tell me? I believe Sir Adnor might have been right. Thought you worked yourself too hard and need a break? A long one, maybe. What? No. Impossible. I should have done more and coordinated with him regarding your syllabus. These skill sets are paramount, not only to your blending in, but also for resolving our initial predicament. Here, let me start over. It all began 600 years ago. Come on, Mikhail, please. Can we do this tomorrow? I can feel my brain oozing out of my ears. Oh, but we must cover this today. We can't take the risk of you lacking such critical information. Everyone's been told this story since we were little cubs and kittens. You said yourself, it's the number one most important thing you should learn. No, damn it, I should have kept my mouth shut until our next session. I've already used up the last of my brain cells today on those massive crystals. My mind feels like it's burning. Now let's talk about the A heavy knock at the door interrupts him, followed by the heroic visits of Adnor stepping inside, putting Mikhail's rambling to a halt. He's carrying a big sack through the door, filled with who knows what. Ah, Sir Adnor, you're early. Is lesson time over already? Adnor sets the sack down and cocks an eyebrow, his eyes darting between my distress, Mikhail's good humor, and the afternoon light filtering through the window. I am actually fairly late, my lord. Construction at the fairgrounds took longer than I had anticipated. Nonsense, it's not half past noon. The fox takes a gander out the window, and his cheery expression plummets. Harrigood, is it that late already? Oh, my brother is going to skin me alive. He immediately begins snatching up his notes from all over the table and floor, leaving many behind. He crowns them and his equipment haphazardly into his bag before putting on his vest. The staging grounds were bigger and more elaborate than usual. Are we expecting more noble families coming for the event? Should I be? I'm so terribly sorry to cut our time short, but I must get back home. I'll see you tomorrow, Aaron. Remind me to purchase an hourglass next time I visit. Another one. But don't you always have one in your... Before Adnor can finish his sentence, the fox is already out, slamming the door behind him. Man, he really is just a bundle of energy when he's not sleep deprived. Sorry for the delay. I went to the smithy to give Jacob the baked goods I promised. Even though I've paid for the repair, there's no way I can let him starve when he's so busy. No worries, I'm just glad you came now and not a minute later. Had he gone on another minute, I think my brain might have sprouted legs and run for the hills. It wasn't that bad, was it? Oh no, it was bad. Never asked Mikhail anything to do with history. He kept going without a second to even breathe. He can get carried away when it comes to sharing his knowledge. I think he forgets just how vast and thorough his education is compared to most. Just keep reminding him whenever you need a break. You may have noticed, but he doesn't have the best sense of time. No kidding, I remembered it. Now that your time with Lord Mikhail is done for the day, we're going to do some training. That's to help clear your mind after a tough session like that. When you're ready, we'll head out and I'll show you to the grounds where we'll conduct today's lesson. I will take responsibility for your teaching how to properly use your new lion physique. Great. I've been itching to stretch my legs all day. Alright then, we'll leave right away. Adnor hoists up his cargo again and holds the door open for me. I pose a question as I step out and down the steps. What you got in the sack looks heavy. Just some tools and leftover supplies for the boarding labels. They're actually stored where we're going, so we don't need to make any detours. The streets are bustling as always. I look to both sides of the crowd to see if there's any room for us to slip through. Adnor's a big fella. I prefer it if he didn't have to huddle. While he's locking up, I take note of the big crystal hanging right beside me. The setup is just like any house light you see back home, except instead of a light bulb, there's a big rock. How could I have missed this before? It's pretty big, about the size of a watermelon. People said they need time to absorb the light. If they emit all night long, then they probably need the whole day to recharge too. Reminds me of the solar panel problem. They only charge during the day, so you need to stockpile all you can get for the following night. I actually worked with solar panels a few times at the tech store. I bet there's some similarities between them, even if in a magical sort of way. As we walk down the street, a few people catch glances at me. It's not as obvious as it's not as obvious or as many as before, but it's easy to just ignore them. I guess Adnor was right about getting more outside. It leaves people less interested in me. But no more of that. Today I'm getting hands-on training by Adnor, the fabled werewolf warrior of Dulcet. I think back to when I first met Mikhail and that almost unnatural speed at which he fled from me. If he could run at that speed, despite presumably being an unfit noble, then I must be able to manage the same now that I'm a deer like them. But I'm a lion man, so maybe instead of primal speed, it's feeling like reflexes and dexterity. Can I leap like a cat? Always land on my feet? Will I be able to sprint up walls, cling from the narrowest ledges, and balance on a post like a kung fu master? They call it parkour, right? Superhuman, lion like parkour. That sounds like a neat superpower. I could be happy with that. Adnor can keep the super strength for himself. I grinned to myself, looking forward to whatever Adnor has planned for me. It took him all day, and some of yesterday too. I bet it's an obstacle course with like rolling logs suspended in water, a maze of spinning boards, a wall running section in a field of posts that I'll have to leap over while he throws water balloons at me or something. Whatever it is, it's gotta be more fun than Mikhail's endless history lesson. After crossing the bridge, we take a sudden turn to the left where the road splits into two. We're approaching a small, and I get the sense our destination is just on the other side. My anticipation grows. I can barely contain my excitement at what's in store for me, and we clear the hall, only to be met by a janky old house on a questionable waste foundation. It has seen better days. It doesn't look like anyone's lived here in a very long time. In complete disrepair, it looks as though one moderate gust of wind will blow the whole thing over. Here we are. This is where we'll conduct your training. This, really? When he said we're going to a training ground, I was at least expecting a place where the local warriors spar, or an archery range, or something. This is just some hermit's backyard. Are you sure we should train here? It doesn't look all that safe of a place to do it. Yes, Owen. I've been using this place myself for my own training the past 5 years. You'll be fine as long as you don't climb inside the building. But it looks deserted. Where is it even supposed to be? There was a barn that was abandoned long before I arrived at the village, but it's free for anyone to use. He ducks into the space under the house. He ducks into the space under the house and stores the sack inside, only to return with the shovel he fished out from it. The farmers use it to store old and worn equipment they aren't using anymore. Anyone's free to come by and borrow what's inside. He drags the shovel across the ground, walking backwards as he marks a straight line in the dirt that is several meters long. First, we need to carefully figure out exactly you're having why you're having so much trouble walking. I assume you did not have issues in your previous form. Yeah, I didn't have any physical disabilities. Walking was easy. I wouldn't say I was the most graceful about it, but it's not like I was turning heads or falling overall all the time. Alright then, let's see what you can do. He gestures to a line, and my eyes dart from him to it and back again. Walk the full length of that line, one paw in the front of the other, as steadily as you can. You must be joking. No, I am not. This is where we shall start. I'm not that happy. I'm not that hopeless. I know how to walk. Your walk doesn't look natural, and more importantly, you don't walk like a noble should. The excuse that your illness has impaired your stance is quickly wearing thin. Everyone has seen how quickly you've recovered now. Hey, yeah. Why are we telling everyone I'm a noble? Isn't that an unnecessary and risky detail? There's a number of reasons, but chief among them is that you're a lion. What does that have to do with anything? Most lions in this and the neighboring kingdoms are nobles, or have deep connections with them. Everyone assuming you or one is a matter of course. Seriously? I just happened to roll the most gilded species into this world. I would prefer it if I became a wolf instead, just to avoid the hassle. Given your circumstances and that everyone already knew you were connected to Lord Mikhail, the only sensible choice was to make you the son of a lesser-known family of a small faraway domain. As you must now live like a noble, you must learn to walk like one too, and that starts with this line. I can walk in a straight line. I'm not a baby. Alright then, show me. He scoffs as he says that. How hard could this be? I confidently take my first step right on the lines I begin to trace. But my stance is already faltering. On the second step, I'm forced to lean to the right before sticking my arms out as counterbalance. After a couple seconds, I find my center. However, the tail throws my hips out with erratic thrashing again. I'm forced to take my next step while fighting against its movements. I thought I was getting better, but sticking to an established path with my feet together is proving to be more of a challenge than expected. The tail yanks me off the mark more times than I'd like to admit before I totter to the end of the line. There, see? Yes, I see very well. Agnar? Yes. Now what? Well, are you done? No, what? I walked the line, didn't I? I'm not convinced. Do it 2 more times. I take a sharp inhale through my nose and huff. You didn't have to say it like that. But I do as I'm told and walk the line twice more. I try to put my arms down and to rub my tail to stay still, but no luck. Each attempt is worse than the last. I return to Agnar. He looks far from impressed, and I can't keep up my bravado any longer. Do you feel like that went well? I sighed and scratched the back of my furry neck. I'll admit that was more difficult than I would have thought. It wasn't very good. I didn't think it would be so hard, but it's just a line in the dirt. Shouldn't we be doing something more? To trigger my feline reflexes or something? Do you believe I made this task simple because I was going to ease on you? Well, I mean, we barely started your training. I have to see how you carry yourself first, before I can even determine what's throwing off your coordination. I don't even know what Sylving look like. Not really. I can't picture how you carried yourself before or how a Sylving is meant to. I don't doubt you were fine before, but you're a lion now. Your body has changed. There are going to be differences neither of us can anticipate, but the one thing I do know is that Adar should walk. However, you may think of me, you must at least trust I know what I'm doing. Otherwise, what's the point of me teaching you? You can't pretend you know better than I do how a lion is meant to carry themselves or how to get you to that point. Because you don't. If you did, you wouldn't need my help. My hands visit with the hem of my shirt, and I look away. His pointed words sting worse than my claws ever did, and I can't bring myself to reply. What's worse is that I can't even say that he's wrong. I don't know anything about this world, its people, or even really how to be like them. The big wolf size walks over and places a comforting hand on my shoulder. I understand how this training may seem like I'm treating you like a cub, but I'm not. I'm giving you the training you need. If it wasn't important for you to begin here, we wouldn't be doing it. Not knowing how to retort that, I simply don't say anything and cross my arms. Looking away, it may be childish, but it's frustrating that I have to start here. What makes it worse is that he's right. I couldn't walk this simple line without waving my arms around to find my balance. I can't make you trust me, Aaron, but I'm asking you to give me a chance. I just want to adapt and walk more freely in this world already, but reality isn't just that simple. I rub my neck, embarrassed, and let out a heavy sigh for even pitching a fuss. Looking up to the big wolf, I shake off my inner thoughts and put my stubborn pride aside. Okay, I'll follow your training without question. Thank you for understanding. Let's try this again. I'll help you through each step. Adnar moves back to the line, standing in front of me with his hands outstretched. I follow him, keeping my eyes on the ground to watch my step and hover my hands above his in case I trip. Adnar leads the way at a slow, cautious pace. His stride is longer than mine, so even though he's going backwards, I'm forced to take more ambitious steps to keep up. Look at me, not down. Simply feel the ground beneath your feet. Doing as he tells me, I keep my eyes glued to his face. He's wearing that fixated look again, his eyes fully focused on my legs. I wonder if he's aware of how serious his face looks when he's concentrating like that. For each step I make, it gets a bit easier. The claws on my toes drag against the ground a few times, but it's not so bad. We walk down the line and back, and I look up at Adnar as we finish the second round. You did good, Aaron. Your stride has a noticeable improvement already. Now turn around and hold your back straight. Here, let me show you. I turn my back to him, feeling his hand rest on my shoulder, but then his other hand presses against the small of my back to adjust my posture. His hand moves down, pressing dangerously low on my back. You need to keep your back straight, keep your chin up, survey your surroundings, and relax. His voice goes right in my ear, with his furry chin rubbing it, making it flick. I knew he would be close when guiding me, but not this close. I put my hand up and brushed his muzzle away, inadvertently petting it. I tried to play it off by scratching between his ears. You're losing your focus. Don't get distracted. Sorry, but having you right in my ear tickled a lot. Could you move your head a little? My apologies. I didn't realize. He adjusts his head a bit higher. It's not directly in my ear anymore, but it's still pretty close. When my posture slips, he again uses his control over me to nudge it back into position. You seem to slouch a lot. Did you usually carry yourself like this before? I mean, yeah, I guess. That's not good for your back. You need to straighten up, like you've been roped to a wooden plank. I've heard that one before, but this is the first time failing to be proper has ever had any consequences. Now, keep it like that as you go. It's awkward walking with someone pressing my back like this. I have to maintain my balance against his push while moving forward at the pace he sets. but it does make things easier, like something within my body just clicked. We walk up and down the line, over and over again, him keeping a firm grip on my shoulder. You know, I needed some time adjusting to how I carried myself in the past too. I used to specialize in bows and daggers when I first started out my training. I didn't have to worry about how I held myself. This back when I was young and hadn't grown so large yet. I took to them naturally and never used anything else. He sighs, slowing his pace, but as I grew older, I had to change my equipment out when my mentor put me on heavy weapons training. At the time, he said it was so I could maintain good form in the future. I thought I knew better and went against his orders. I was rather stubborn back then. And so, I learned bad technique after bad technique because I insisted on training on my own rather than carry the sword my mentor gave me. I just couldn't accept the hand life had dealt me. I wanted to go back to the dagger and bow so badly, but I had already grown to twice my old size. Those kinds of weapons are more suited to those with average build and height. My mentor knew it would never work out for me long before I did. Adnor steps to the side of the line, walking alongside me with only a gentle touch. It's tricky, remembering not to slouch while also listening to his tale, but I don't want to disappoint him or miss out on it. I used to be the best of my class and was proud of that fact. The others my age wished they could match my skill to aim. Because I was too obsessed with what I knew, my technique fell further and further behind the others as a switch of weapon, not to mention how poorly I matched up to those who were trained with heavy weapons from the start. But this is all to say that it's important to do things right the first time. It is many times harder to unlearn a bad habit than it is to learn a new one. Thankfully, he was patient with this wolf. We turned around at the end of the line again, and I'm just now realizing that he's no longer holding on to me and didn't even notice when he had let go. One cannot be afraid to adapt to the world or to the way their body changes. You can't force fate to change. You can only roll with the punches. I turned around and walked the line for the last time, and for once, I think I actually managed to walk it just right. Though the tail sort of spoils it by moving around still. There you go. You've made a marked improvement already. I step off the line and puff my chest out proudly. Good enough to pass for a noble. It's better, but we've only just started. Now let's move on to the next exercise. Oh, come on, not you too. What's wrong? I thought you were excited to do more. Yeah, but can't we take a break first? My head's still reeling from Mikhail's history lesson. That's a good reason. We'll take a quick break before we continue trading. I made my way to the shade of a nearby tree next to a broken wooden fence. There are some logs stacked nearby, so it gives the space a nice, secluded feeling. Antnor stands to the side on the dirt paths under the warmth of the sun. He gazes at the scenery, stands wide and arms crossed. I follow his example and soak in my surroundings, taking in the view of the rolling hills and the dense forest in the distance. I turn my head and look at the old barn, barely standing on its legs and rocks. The roof is missing in places, and the shutter barely hangs on by a single rusty hinge. I'm surprised a building so run down can still stand. Looking up at the tree, I see the sunlight flicker between the leaves. The passing breeze runs through my hair, cooling me down after training in the warm sun. I tilt my head back and close my eyes, enjoying the cool breeze and the bird song coming from above. After a few tranquil minutes, Antnor approaches and interrupts my peaceful rest. During our little exercise, I noticed that your tail's movement is rather unruly. Yeah, it's been like that since day one. It never listens to me, no matter what I try. You have no control over it? None. I've never had a tail before. It's pretty new to me still. I know cats aren't meant to use them for balance, but humans have always gotten by just fine without them. I hope you're not thinking about clipping it too. What? God no. Why would I do that? I'm just having trouble figuring out how to control it. I know I need it, but I'm not desperate enough to amputate it. I sigh and allow myself to calm down. The more I try to control it, the more I try to take control of it, the more it freaks out. It's like it's trying to sabotage me. That will explain why you struggle to keep your hips in line with your feet as you move. But as you correctly pointed out, it is something you need just as much as your legs, arms, and ears. It is there to help with balance as well as to provide fluid motion. But it also connected to your emotion, like your muzzle or your ears. Your tail is a way of expressing yourself, consciously or not. I picked up on your anxiety and frustration ever since we arrived. I thought you were simply tired after Lord McHale's lecture, but I can see now that that's not it. Is there something wrong, Owen? I've been telling myself I'm fine, that I can handle this, and that it doesn't bother me, but I can't deny how emotionally exhausting this whole ordeal can become. I want my eye with a soft palm pad to banish a tear before it forms. Only when it's clear do I look up at Atnor. No, yeah, a little. I still don't know what to make of all this place, the weird things about me, magic and all that. It's a lot. And the fact that this is just my life now, this body is different, and doing all these strange things, and even with it, I still don't fit in. I'm just feeling so overwhelmed because this body isn't my fist clench, feeling the dull claws rub against the inside of my palms. I can't look him in the eye. I don't want him to see me getting misty-eyed. I'm not me anymore. Listen, Owen, I went through something similar when I was growing up. I know your situation is different, and I can't begin to imagine what you're going through. Your body has changed so much. But I can tell you one thing. This new body is still yours. These paws are all your paws. This tail is your tail. Even if they seem strange to you and like they don't quite fit, it's all you. Nobody else can make use of them. Nobody else can claim the right to possess your body. It's all you, Aaron. It's unfamiliar to you still, but it's you. It's really weird to think about it like that. I kept calling it the tail this whole time, but I never really thought of it as truly mine. My tail, huh? I take hold of it in the middle, petting the fur down to the fluffy tip as I lay it in my lap. It's such a strange sensation, the haptic feedback of an entirely new body part. I just stare at my tail as it makes its own small flicks of movement. Could I try something? I have an idea that might help. Sure, what do you have in mind? I want to see if we can't stimulate its muscles. Maybe we can hone your feline instincts, give you a better understanding of it. If we were to pinch the tip and you focus on how it reacts, you might find some control over it. Pinching my tail with his size? Just be careful when you do it. You look pretty strong and you might crush whatever bones I have in there. The wolf just rolls his eyes sheepishly. It's just a pinch. I'm not going to tear her off. It'll just be enough for it to flex. Be sure to pay close attention to the sensation of it. He brings himself closer and gently holds the tip of the tail between two fingers. You'll probably feel some pain when I do this, but you'll be alright. I look away, wincing in anticipation. Ah, I can feel a brief, sharp jolt of pain coursing up my tail and the length of my spine. My tail automatically leads away, snaking about in an invasive maneuver. That's good. Let's keep going. Concentrate on the feeling in your tail. I hunch forward on my paws and knees, trying to focus on the movement rather than the pain. It's not a pleasant sensation. The longer we go, the more confused I get by all the cascading impulses. Mercifully, Adnor lets go of it before too long, and when it flops out of my hand, it hits him in the nose of retaliation. It springs up in the air with a tuft poofing out, like a cobra making a threatening display before laying itself back down on the grass. I can still feel the dull pain, and I see in its grumpiness my poor tail, whom has been sorely abused by this villainous wolf. I may have pinched you a bit too hard. Are you alright? Maybe a little, yeah. But your tail seems to move more in line with your feelings. That's good. Now try to find that feeling in your muscles again. The accident took when I pinched it. See if you can make it happen by your own will. The feeling of the pinch still lingers in some of my muscles, so I'll focus on that to try and locate them. I can feel the grass beneath it and the wind blowing through the fur. I can feel the way it's coiled and can picture in my mind the position it's in. I try to reach out to what I felt earlier, flexing the muscles in my lower back. Come on, move. Nothing. It doesn't even twist. Taking a deep breath, I try again. Nothing gets anything. Nobody gets anything right on the first try. I might picture it like my arms, from my shoulders down to my wrist, through my elbow and ending in my fingers. It's not the same, of course, but I need some kind of blueprint to guide me there. Find the muscles in my back, follow where they join with my tail, continue onward into uncharted territory. I want to move my tail. I want to move my tail. I can do this. I'm in control. Wave my hand. Wave my tail. Up and down. Up and down. Do it. Come on. Clenching my fists and baring my fangs, I put all I have into my back, a pulse of determination surging down my spine to just move already. The tail suddenly throws up in the air, standing high and straight before it relaxes down again. You did it, Owen. I did? He gives me a congratulatory pat on the head, ruffling my hair. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a bit of a habit I picked up from cup sitting early. But you did great. You took control of it by your own will. It's a small step, but an important one. I have no doubt that you'll have full control before you know it. Or need it, hopefully, if you want to. I have a few more ideas that we can try. Please, no more pitching. I clutch my tail to my chest protectively like a darling baby that's been mishandled. No more pinching or pain, I promise. We spend time just messing around, trying to provoke more of a reaction from my tail. I thought comparing it to my arm was a good idea at first, but really it's more like my spine has been extended, which I suppose it has been. It's kind of fun moving it around like it's a snake dancing with how fluid it can look. Good, your movement is getting better. Now try keeping it still. It's actually a bit harder to do that. I have to anticipate the way it wants to move on its own and apply a counter motion in precise amounts. It takes my complete focus, but at least I can keep it still in place somewhat. You're doing a great job, Aaron. I think that should be enough practice with your tail for today. Now that you have a better control over it, we can go back to practicing your stride and posture. It shouldn't take more than a few hours. And nearly fall over here and there. A few hours? And he wasn't joking. We really did spend hours just walking around on the training ground, getting more strict at how I'm composing myself. I can't maintain my posture anymore, no matter how many reminders Aunt Nora gives me. The last set of exercises he has me balancing on one foot while holding my arms up is actually really hard to keep from wobbling even with my tail pitching in for a change. I have never worked out this much in a single sitting in all my life, not even for gym class. I thought becoming a lion would give me more stamina and agility, but I'm still exhausted. It's difficult to continue with how much my back and leg muscles ache. Don't lock your knee and just lay on your feet. Let your entire leg catch your weight. He's standing close by as I hop from foot to foot. It's slow going and tedious. I barely have the strength for it at this point. Ugh, please, can we be done now? Almost. Just try holding a bit. What? My knees give out, and I fully expect to face plant in the dirt, but instead I am met with a face full of fur. Adnar catches me in his arms as my face buries itself in his chest hair. His torso feels warm and firm. I quickly pull away. Yeah, guess you're right. That's enough training for one day. He puts me back on my feet with ease. It was like being swaddled in a heating blanket when Andor held me in his arms. My face still feels hot. So I didn't mean to crash onto you. My knees gave out and my legs couldn't hold me up any longer. Think nothing of it. I'm here to catch you when you stumble after all. I'm impressed with how long you held out today. Shows you've got good character. You didn't twist your ankle when you fell, did you? I give my foot a few twists. Aside from being tired, I don't feel any pain. No, it feels alright. Just need a minute to rest my legs. They feel all jelly like right now. Good. They will leave when you're ready. Antnor turns to the sky, shielding his eyes as he gazes towards the setting sun. We made good progress today. I'm afraid to say I lost track of time. Like a certain fox with glasses? Maybe. Do you know what time it is? It's around the 13th hour. The what? The 13th hour. The sun is setting. I'm not sure what that even means. The count begins when the sun rises and naturally changes with the seasons. It means that there have been 13 hours of daylight so far today. I look up at the sun. It's always an orange disk, so it doesn't hurt too much to look at it. So you guys look up at the sky to tell time? Our ancestors have done this since the dawn of time, so it's natural to learn to read the sun in saddles. I feel a sense of dread coming on. I'm gonna have to learn to do that too, aren't I? The wolf gives me an apologetic smile, pretty much confirming it. No, don't worry. It's not something you have to learn today. You can relax now. You've done well today, Arwen. Tell you what, you've earned a treat. I'll ask Brum to fix you something special tonight. He's right. I did do well for being my first day of training. I persevered and came out on top. After a long day like this, I've definitely earned a treat. Hey, would it be alright if I go there with you? I would like to stay and eat there. Going back to the house doesn't sound all too appealing right now. I feel like I spent way too much time as a sit-in. I already have been learning all day. So I might as well live a little and see what the end's like when it's full. Are you sure? There's probably many there already having supper. We might not even be able to get a table how crowded it usually gets. I know, but I'm honestly looking forward to that. I want to see how it's like, and they might not even notice me in the crowd. I had a great time at the end yesterday. It'll be fun to go back and see how different it is at night. Brahma also said someone named Gertrude works there in the evening, so I would like to meet her too. We can see how well we're We can see how well my walking holds up on the way there to see how much I've improved. Well, as long as you believe you can manage it, then I don't see why not. We return to the village and weave our way through the streets. The evening light casts long shadows, but the street crystals aren't lit yet. We get to the street with the Golden Hills Inn, having only passed a few other people. My legs are pretty tired, but I can definitely tell that my walk has improved. I didn't realize it earlier, but I had a wide and awkward gait before the training session, like I had been riding a pony for too long. There's still some swaying at times, and my tail doesn't always behave itself, but at least I'm upright and stable. Just as we're about to hop up the stairs, a familiar green turtle bursts out the door. Good evening, Gare. Heard it's not your first time meeting Lord Sonder. He must have left quite the first impression then. Right, I should probably apologize about that. Hey, Gare, I'm Aaron Sonder. It's nice meeting you. I'm sorry for bumping onto you the other day. I was just sick and a bit confused then, but I'm doing better now. Nothing. He doesn't seem to even listen. Talking. He doesn't seem to even listen. Talk to him. Even listening, talking to him. All he does is stare at me. Was it something I said? You're still here. I flinch. His words are cold and wet. He's a guest of the Veskogan family, Gare. Why wouldn't he be staying? The turtle ignores the big wolf, looking at me in the eyes without blinking. Yep, I'm staying here for a while. His cold glaze stares me at a little. Not a wise decision. Why? He doesn't answer, keeping his eyes set on me. What did I even do to him? Did bumping into him really get him this upset? Instead of being visibly angry like the old rabbit, he's strangely cold and unwelcoming. Before things get any more awkward, a big familiar bear opens the door and greets us warmly. Well, if it isn't Lord Elwyn and Agnar, good to see you two this evening. He gives me a curt nod before stepping outside. He's carrying a sack of what I can only assume is flour over one shoulder. Here you go, Gare. Say hi to your old lady. Rum passes down the sack to the turtle over the shoulder. With that, he walks down the street, not even looking back to the big bear. Brum catches the door as it was lazily swinging shut. He dusts off his hands to clear them of any remaining flour and regards us. Don't mind him, my lord. He's always get like this around lions. So he's racist against lions? Better stay away from him. Then, if he doesn't like being a lion, if he doesn't like me being a lion, then I can't do much to change his mind. So, what would the two of you like to eat? I'll see if there's a clean kettle laying around somewhere. No, not this time, Brum. Lord Owen would like to dine here this evening. Ha! I'm glad to hear it. My cooking must be really something, huh? But I'm afraid all the tables are taken, and I don't think any will be available for a while. This is our busiest time of the day. There are 2 seats by the counter, but I'm sure our lord here would rather have a proper table to eat at. What's wrong about sitting there? I mean, the table would be more comfortable, but it's not like it doesn't have its own charm. I'm sitting at the counter. I'm honestly not that picky about where I sit. That's what I like to hear. Glad to see a lion like yourself ain't afraid to get comfortable with simpler folk. If you insist, then we'll take our meals by the counter today. Alright, come right in, and I'll lead you two to your seats. He leads us around the crowded sitting area to the bar. Already I'm kind of overwhelmed by all the smells, sights, and sounds inside. So many different entries, animal kinds, partying, drinking, and laughter. Some tables are laughing, others weeping, and commiserating. All in all, it's really loud. I also can't help but notice just how many dire are the size of Antnor and Brum. Okay, maybe not all the way to Brum's size, but still the majority may be what I'm considering normal, but giants are far from uncommon. After Brum has led us to the two vacant spots on the end of the bar, he walks behind the counter and makes his way into the kitchen. I'm sitting at the end of the row, leaving Antnor to take the seat next to me. He wasn't kidding, this place is really packed. This is nothing compared to how it'll be when the hunt begins. While we wait for Brum to return, I turn in my seat and take to people watching. I try to be subtle about it, not focusing on one person for too long. Men and women, short and tall, thick and thin, hairy and scaly, all under one roof. I can't even count how many different kinds there are in the crowd. Then we are a bunch of party animals, all having a good time enjoying each other's company, the inn and its drinks. Looking around to take in the revelry, my eyes pick up on a set of flowing golden locks weaving through the crowd like the wind. I turn back as I hear Brum come out of the kitchen. "All right, my lord. Would you like to hear what we got on the menu, or do you want to order something special?" I didn't really think about what I want. I'm pretty much down for whatever they got. "What would you recommend? Is there a house special?" "Well, you saw I just got my bread for the day. If you fancy, I can carve out a loaf of bread and make you bread bowl lapskaus." "You made lapskaus?" Antnor's tail is wagging like crazy, hitting my hips with its fluff. He must really love this dish. "Yeah, I did. Got a good deal for the meat from the butcher." "Then let's order it." "All right, so that's 2 bowls. Make it 3. Of course, it'll be right out." "And what you want for drinks?" "I'll take my usual." "You got it. And you, Lord Owen?" "I'll take the cider I had last time." He reaches under the bar and places 2 tankards on the counter. Then he turns on the spot and snatches up a white jug from himself. Without missing a beat, he pops off the cork with a claw and pours my cider from a great height. Next, he puts the second tankard against the tap of a small barrel set on the lower shelf. I can hear the satisfying sound of liquid filling the tankard. A foam surges to the top. He hands the beer to Antnor. Sounds like you ever eat Brum's cooking." "How can I not? He's the greatest cook I know. But more importantly, a great bear. He opens up to everyone that wanders through that door, regardless of how sorry their troubles have been. Even that grumpy old rabbit? Now that would be the day." He stifles a chuckle, taking a swig from his tankard. "Ha! But the elders, Brum has tried, but there's no chasing someone or getting on his good side. Their personalities couldn't be any more different. Still, he's probably the only person Soren doesn't go out of his way to insult. I actually can't remember ever hearing him curse at the old bear." Antnor spots something in the crowd, no doubt benefiting from the fact he can see clear over most folk. He waves a paw as if to flag someone down. "Sertrude, come here." "I'm busy, hon. I'll be there in a jiffy." Also, the golden west swimming through the crowd is the fabled beauty of Dawson. I see a glimpse of her as he turns. She's a lot shorter than I imagined. She has an hourglass figure, complemented by long, luscious, wavy blonde hair that seems to float through the air. Brum described her as something of a seductress, but I'm afraid she'll have no luck with me. She's got the moves, though. I give her that. She flows through the crowd with such elegance, you think she was dancing. Every turn, a pop and lock of the hips. Every twist is accompanied by a smothering stare. As I continue to stare, hoping to get a chance glance at her face. Aunt Nora leans in and whispers, "She's quite a beauty, isn't she? Must be hard to look away when you first see her." "Oh, yeah, she's pretty. Well, she's very pretty. You better guard your heart. She may be without a mate, but she doesn't seem interested to have one. She turns away everyone who confesses their love to her. That I don't have to worry about. I'm sure she's nice, but my type is men. Sorry, Gertrude." Yeah, she probably don't mind. Just don't get on her bad side. I lost count of how many patrons she's thrown right out the door with her own paws. Her? Throwing people with her size? Are you serious? I am. She may look delicate, but she'll knock you flat if you don't treat her right. Seriously? What are these guys eating? What sort of steroids are they putting in the water? I scanned the crowd to try and find Gertrude again, but she seems to disappear. I do, however, spot a few more looky-loos still in my direction. So how many people in here, do you know? I say less than half of them. I've lived in Dorset a good while, but there are a lot of out-of-town folk in here today. Everyone's turning up from the hunt. Everyone's turned up for the hunt, and we've already received more than previous years. And more are still to come. And this way it's going to be standing room only in a few days. We'll need to get our dinners early before the rush. Speaking of food, I wish we had ours already. I'm starving. He said it would be right out, but given how packed it is, it must be taking longer than normal. I don't blame the delay. A lot of this crowd are carrying weapons like Aunt Nora. Given how he is, I assume the mercenary profession is more upstanding than the movies would have one believe. Their weapons seem like they're more meant for self-defense than killing. Thanks to that, and the way they dress, I actually feel rather safe around them. Gertrude passes by again, unloading a tray of plates onto a nearby table. "Gertrude, come out here already." All right, I'm coming. Calm your tail. Here, my hair will be ruined if this keeps going. How am I supposed to keep up my appearance like this? So, what do you two dolls need? Beard. Just to gaze at your bewitching face and introduce you to my new charge. Beard. Oh, so this is the foreign lion that you found. This is Lord Arwen Sonder. I was just telling him about you. In fact, he's very keen to meet you. Aren't they all? She swishes her beard with her hand the way one would normally toss their hair. I can't take my eyes off it. My brain struggles to see past it, not knowing if it's a man wearing a dress or if women can get such thick and develop beards like this. Stop staring at her beard, you fool, and say something. Pardon me, my lord, but are you honestly staring at my girls? As much as I do like sewing them, a fine guy like myself can't just let her twins get ogled over like that. What? No, what I'm staring at is all that hair you call a beard. Prying my eyes up to meet hers is like trying to open a bank vault with a crowbar. Beard, be beautiful. No, sorry, it's just you're a beautiful man. I mean, ma'am. No, pull up. I was just so surprised. I heard the stories, but I didn't. That my eyes dart back to her beard, and by Herculean might, I pull them back up again. That you would be even more beautiful in person. She continues to stare me down expectantly. Come on, think. What would the beauty of Dorset like to hear? A compliment about her appearance? Something, anything, say anything, and oh, your hair looks great. It's so big and a lot. I think whatever gods exist in this world, that I said hair and not beard. She continues to stare. It's still not enough. She's gonna suss me into Clatter Frank Pope. Come on, Say something else. Your dress is really nice. It looks beautiful on you. And your mane. I wish I could grow mine out like that, but it's such high maintenance with a beard. No, I was doing so good. Why did I have to say beard? I give up. My brain's fried to a crisp, and I don't know what to say anymore. I accept my fate, ready to get thrown out the door by the bearded woman in a short second. To my relief, her expression softens, or at least I hope so. It's hard to tell with most of her face obscured. Well, I'm glad someone finally noticed. I've been trying out a new oil I bought recently. It's wonderful. It gives my locks the lightness of a cloud. Most men don't appreciate just how much work goes into my appearance. I'm glad someone with more refined taste can see it. Oh, thank God. I get to live another day. I'm sorry for my late greeting, Lord Alwyn. I'm Gertrude, the maiden of the Golden Hills Inn. Pleasure to meet you. I know, honey. You should warn a girl before meeting such a sweet talker of a noble. You know how important first impressions are. He was so quiet at first, I thought he was here only to gawk at me. You always leave them speechless, Gertrude. Some of them could stand to be a little more speechless. Honestly, most of these brutes say such vulgar things at times. She fluffs up her beard, making it more bouncing and fuller. She flutters her eye, or was that a wink? I can't tell when the other eye is covered with her long bangs. I simply adore your mane, by the way. Really avant-garde. Oh, thank you. After Sylving's comments, I'm a little hesitant to accept the compliment, but if I want to keep my bones in my body, I should probably just roll with it. You should find more men like him on your trips into the woods. This place needs all the class it can get. Brum reappears from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a small wag he keeps tucked into his belt. Ah, you're met. I was hoping you'd get a chance to say hi to Trudy. He sure did. He's quite a charmer. He really knows how to treat a lady. Glad that she thinks so, because I had no idea what I was even saying. Well, I'd love to stay and chat. I got an entire inn to serve. They're not gonna get their food themselves. You need to hire more help for the hunt, Rum. A gal can only do so much before her dress twists into a knot. I'll see you around, sweetie. And stop calling me Trudy. She sassays around the counter towards the kitchen, swinging her hips in a fashion that draws most of the attention in the room, while Brum chuckles, rubbing his tender pelt. She'll warm up to that nickname someday. I just know it. I'm pretty sure she's going to break your hip before then. That's a risk I'm willing to take. The two of them share a hearty laugh. Together, the bear giving Antnor a nudge on his shoulder. He slips in and out of the kitchen, carrying 2 big plates of food. Each carries a hollowed-out loaf of bread filled with rich, decadent-smelling stew. 3 bowls of lobscouse, hot out of the pot. Look into the hearty helping I've been given and swallow. He always serves such big portions, but considering Brum's big belly, it might seem like a small serving by comparison. Now y'all better not leave a crumb after you've eaten your bread bowls. I have to get back to work in the kitchen. Enjoy. He provides us each with a large wooden spoon. Aunt Norris looks like it might actually just be a ladle. As the water line in my bowl lowers, I break off pieces from the rim to dip with, so in stale bread pairs well with the soup, becoming soft and delectable once it's soaked up enough of the broth. I guess it has its perks after all. Shortly after we start eating, Agnor lifts the whole bowl the whole bread bowl into the air, drinking the stew straight from the source. Once done, he simply devours the bread in a few bites. Finishing his meal, he licks his lips. He must have been really hungry considering an entire bowl when I'm not even halfway through with mine yet. The volume of the crowd rises and falls. At one point, the cheering and laughter becomes downright deafening. It's a bit much, but at the same time, nice to hear. Gertrude continues to be a stunning blur of customer service excellence. I don't know how she does it, but just watching her go is like dinner and a show all by itself. Despite the workload, she doesn't break a sweat. I can't take my eyes off of her, even for the wrong reasons. For better or worse, her beard is eye-catching. Brum comes back with a second bowl of lapscouts for Adnor and refills our tankards. Everyone's having a good time. They're all so cheerful. It's easy to get caught up in the atmosphere. The smell of food and alcohol in the air is intoxicating. I smile from ear to ear as I take it all in. I'm actually having a good time. Someone picks up their mug, standing up with one leg on the table as they raise their drink high in the air. For the glory of the hunt. For the hunt. For the hunt. Adnor lifts his tankard high in a celebratory toast, joining in with everyone. I grab my tankard of cider and swing it in the air to join in the toast. For hunting. I was way off the mark. Most of the room was taking a swig from their mugs in unison, leaving the room the quietest it's been all evening. Their eyes all sift toward me. Awkward silence all around. Everyone burst out laughing, filling the whole room and drowning out all other noise and thought. I sink into my chair, feeling hot all over as I'm cringing to death at my own hubris. I can't believe I just did that. That was a good cheer. I didn't expect you to join in on it. Adnor keeps his cool and doesn't laugh like the others, but I see his wrinkled smile telling me how badly he wants to. I cover my head with my hands, pressing my forehead against the wooden counter out of desperation to hurt myself. I couldn't sink any lower in this seat if I tried. I just want to crawl up and invert into nothing. Brum comes out with a wash rag and wipes down the counter of all the beer and cider spilled during the toast. Glad to see you in high spirits for the main event, Lord Owen, and the town seems to be warming up to you already. Are you kidding me? I missed the timing completely and they all laughed. I don't mind them. We're all having a good time, is all. And like our wolf here said, 'twas a good cheer. The big bear returns to the kitchen and now goes on as if nothing happened at all. Adnor pats my shoulder with his big, cheeky grin on his face. I'm glad you're feeling the spirit. You fit right in with us already. He raises his tankard again, but this time to me. We're going to douse it, Owen. Despite my cheeks still being red, I lift my own tankard and we clunk them together in a toast. He smiles and takes a big, long, thirsty chug, emptying the whole mug in one go. We chit-chat in between eating and drinking. The embarrassment from earlier is fading, and I return to enjoying my time here with the big wolf. You thought she was a man? She has a beard. What was I supposed to think? Adnor's literally howling with laughter, hunching over as he tries to catch his breath. Good thing that the streets are completely empty tonight, or people would question what's even going on with him. By the elders, Gertrude would have plucked your head bald if you told her that. I can't breathe. She looked like she was about to. All I could focus on was that beard. Please stop. I don't know how much more I could take. But could you just smell it about her? Gertrude's always a woman. Smell her? Yes, he has the scent of a woman, so it's unmistakable. Is he seriously suggesting I just sniff at her? We don't go around smelling other people back home. For the most part, we can't even notice our own smell. Then how do you know who's a man or who's a woman? It's mostly visual or vocal. Clothes, body shape, hair, stuff like that. We don't have super senses like you guys. Now you're gonna tell me I have to learn how to do that stuff too, aren't you? It would be for the best. Wouldn't want you getting the wrong idea about. Wouldn't want you getting the wrong idea and call someone a man. A man by accident. Lucky for you, smell is rather instinctual and strongly tied to memory. You just need to find it and it'll come to you naturally. The sunstones are now aglow with a bright yellow light. I don't know if it's due to their size or some other quality, but they're much brighter than the one Mikhail showed me. They're not all that different from the streetlights back home. Still, just knowing that these crystals magically emit real sunlight makes them 10 times more interesting. When we arrive at this house, Adnor stretches his arms behind his head before letting out a massive yawn. Then he begins fishing for the key in his pocket. I follow his lead and stretch my arms behind myself while stifling a yawn. Man, I'm beat. I can't wait to get into bed tonight. The day turned out to be far longer than I expected. First thing I do is go to the bathroom and use the twigs and spices to clean my teeth. Going through 3 of them, I wash my mouth out with water and spit into the bowl. I return from the bathroom to find Adnor slumped on the bench, eyes half lidded, as he stares at the door. I'm about to head upstairs when something shiny catches my eye. It's the pouch of magic crystals Mikhail brought for our lecture, sitting on the table. Mikhail must have forgotten these when he left earlier. It's likely that he left them here for you, since they're part of your education. Really? We are talking about Mr. Forgetful here. They're too small to be useful for anything but a teaching aid. He probably wanted you to toy around with them. But I wouldn't use them if I were you. Crystals can be quite troublesome when misused. Come on, these small things, they may be small, but you'd be surprised how easy it is to start a house fire or how hard it is to put one out. It's better to rely on other methods. Crystals are too much trouble, if you ask me. Didn't expect that from Adnor. Reminds me of how some customers from the electronics store will complain about how overly complicated tech is these days. I don't see why he wouldn't like them, though. They seem incredibly useful to me and very pretty to look at. I smiled at myself and tightened the rope for the pouch before letting out a big yawn. I think I'm gonna head to bed. Good night, Adnor. Sleep well. Good night. Don't stay up too late. I'm sure your bed's missing you. I don't need a bed. I'll just fall asleep here. Wait, what? I look up the stairs, raising an eyebrow. He hasn't been sleeping down here this whole time, has he? What about the other room upstairs? Isn't there a spare bed in it? That is Lord Mikhail's private study. It's where he keeps all his research about magic, Sylvings, and whatnots that he gathered from your world. Wait, does that mean I took your bed? I'm so sorry. I didn't even think about it until now. You must be wanting it back already. That's not my bed. It's where Lord Mikhail would rest when he was too tired from his studies to go home. Everything in this house is property of the Vescogan family. Since the building is normally vacant and the bedroom is rarely used, Lord Mikhail was happy to lend it to you. But where are you supposed to sleep then? He straightens up his slumped, sleepy posture a little and clears his throat. As both his lordship's research materials are meant to be a secret, we cannot risk hiring a night guard. Thus, I sleep here each night to deter burglars and ensure confidentiality. So what? You just sleep down here? Even before I arrived, I do, and I did. On the floor, I sleep sitting, like so, here on the bench. I've been trying to rest with one eye open, upright and in the rain, if need be. That's not fair. We should ask Mikhail about getting another bed tomorrow. I can have a smaller one while you use the big one upstairs, the wolf size. I appreciate your concern, but I'm fine. I have no trouble sleeping here. I've slept in far worse conditions than this. Trust me. But still, I'm more comfortable like this. Makes it easier to react if someone were to break in at night. I visit a bed where I'm standing. Even if he says it's fine, I can't just swallow this. He deserves some kind of accommodation for all his hard work, doesn't he? Can I at least bring you down a pillow? I've got two, and they're plenty big, so I only need one. He sighs, smiling in a humorless fashion. I'll think about it. Now, you get your rest. You've earned it after all you've done today. I guess there's no changing his mind, and I'm too tired to make an argument that wouldn't come off as juvenile. Scratch my neck, I try not to dwell on it and reach for the stairs. I give him one last sorrowful look. Alright, see you tomorrow then. Good night, Aunt Nora. I hope you sleep well. I will, Alwyn. Good night. I trudge up the stairs, feeling defeated and still sore from this afternoon. My legs feel like they have weights attached to them. I close the door, toss off my clothes, and throw myself onto the bed, face down on the pillow, groaning in frustration. Being aware of the bed's size, it looks way too big for me. There's room enough for at least 2 more people on it. It's not fair that Aunt Nora has to sleep on a bench when I can sleep in such a big and comfortable bed when all he has is a wooden bench. How can anyone sleep well on that? It doesn't seem right. No matter what he says, I can't stop feeling bad for him. I roll over onto my back and release a beleaguered sigh. It's only then I realize I'm still clutching the pouch. I was so lost and thought I completely forgot I was still holding it. I sit up in bed, peering into the bag. To think something like this is possible really makes me wish we had these in our world. God knows we could use some magic in our boring, everyday lives. I'm mesmerized by the subtle movement of colors within, the way the reflections warp and bend and blend together. It's the same they lose their luster when they're used. It's almost enough to make me not want to use them. Almost. I notice the little gems around my finger, but even their captivating hues cannot banish my worries about Aunt Nora and where he sleeps. Still, he isn't going to buzz on it tonight, so I'll take my mind off it by distracting myself with these crystals. Which one is once again? I sift through them to try and jog my memory. Red is fire, obviously. Yellow is sunlight. I saw that plenty today. Blue is water. Cyan is ice. Green was air, or maybe plants. As I pondered it over, I noticed one more crystal in the bottom of the bag that I didn't see before. What's this one? I pull out a perfectly clear crystal. It doesn't glow in the slightest, and I can't for the life of me recall and Mikhail even mentioned it before. No matter how much I turn it, there isn't any color, not even refracted like a prism. It's clear and transparent like glass. What are you supposed to be? I know it's not ice, but going by the established color scheme, I can't imagine what clear would be. I lay on my back in bed, holding the stone high above me and turning it over in my fingers. I hold it up to the moonlight to see if I can get a better idea with more light. And it's at that moment that I feel something from it. Slowly, tiny little brains of light begin to simmer around the stone. The more I hold it in the light, the more it resembles a snow globe. With the dark room behind it, it's like looking into a patch of starry sky. Countless tiny stars sparkle within, drifting toward the center. Wow, it's magic. Real magic. Right in my hand. It really is beautiful. Particles fly around it like they're dancing before they get absorbed. Since it started to react when I held it up to the light, I'm assuming it's a moonstone and counterparts of the sunstones. Mikhail didn't mention it earlier, but I'm sure I'm right. I feel like watching it all night, but before I know it, the gentle twinkle of the stone lulls me to sleep. I bring the crystal close to my chest and my mind drifts away as my eyes closes slowly. Before I get back home, I'll try to find my place in this world. I just need to try. To be continued. Well, that's the Reforged version of Sylving. So there are some differences in the Reforged version, but not too much. The main difference is the bunny, who instead of him being a baker, he's now a blacksmith. And instead of the bunny's father, that we meet up right after we leave the practice, right after we leave practice and right was about to head into Brum's restaurant, we meet the turtle instead of the rabbit's father. Instead of the rabbit's father, we meet and we have a issue with. We have the turtle that we went into and we have an issue with. So otherwise that's everything so far for the Reforged version of Sylving. So whenever our next update comes out, I'll simply title it Sylving without typing Reforged with it, since there's nothing else after this so far from the original one. So it's really good to revisit this story here. Hopefully it won't be too long until a new update comes out, hopefully before the end of this year. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.